Welcome to Above Par. I'm your host, Kathy Hartwood. I show you how to take more of your talent to the golf course without practicing harder, taking more lessons, or buying new equipment. I show you how to end the frustration of underperforming so you can start playing to your potential. This is where you are going to learn how to think above par so you can play below par. Let's get to it. All right, my friends, welcome back to Think Above Par. Today I have a special guest, one of my clients, my longstanding client, Rainey. She's been on the podcast before, but I wanted to have her on to share some of her experience as she's gone through some of the material that you listen to here in the podcast, but also she's had some one-on-one coaching. She's also been part of the Academy, the Think Above Par Club. Actually, no, sorry, it's called Your Mental Caddy now. She's been a part of Your Mental Caddy and for years. And so she has a really great understanding of what I talk about here, but also she is someone who puts it into action and has applied it to herself and her life. And I just wanted to have her on to share with you part of her journey and some of the things that she thinks has made an impact for her personally. And just ask her some questions. So Karen, thanks for being here.
It's always exciting to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, you always say yes, so I appreciate that. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the success path because I've talked about it on a podcast before, but really what I did is I interviewed a lot of my successful clients and I wanted to see what the clues were on what success leaves and where the patterns were. And there was a very significant pattern that was amazing. And I turned it into the success path. And I believe this wholeheartedly, that if you follow this success path, that you will get results, that you will shift things and change things. And so I want to go through them. Success is the acronym for this. It's not just a success path that works lovely together, but I could have come up with lots of different acronyms, bogey and birdie and whatever. I thought, but success works. But the first one, the S for you, it's commitment. And you use the phrase, I was all in. And the people who have had success are committed. They're all in. They're like, it's time to go. And maybe one hasn't suffered enough to get to a point where you're like going, okay, I can't take this anymore. I need to do something. And then we get all in. But that was your first step. And that was the first thing that you had said, that you were all in. Tell me about that.
That's correct. It was exactly that, of being frustrated. And when we've exhausted all the paths that we know, then we're open to see. Our lens changes and we start looking for help. And as someone excellence is very important to me. And I know that perfection is very close, but I have to be careful to guard against that. You can also be a discouraged perfectionist and try just hard enough, but not really be all in. And I've done that in areas of my life. We've talked a little bit about it in pickleball, play just hard enough to win, but not really play all out. Mm-hmm. And I made a decision. And so much of what we've talked about today is making decisions. And I made a decision that said, I'm going to be all in. If I'm going to try this, I have to do this all in.
Yeah. Your pain point and hit a point where you're like, I'm done. And it's like, I'm all in. Let me go. And you got committed. Okay. So then the U stands for using the tools inside of Your Mental Caddy. I have multiple tools. Steer, for one thing, journaling, doing some evaluations and prep work. Brain dumps is basically the journaling. And so using those tools is a big deal. Right. I think, granted, I created the tools, so of course I think they're a big deal, but I also find the value and I use them myself. The reason that I created them is because I found the value in them. But most of the people who have had success are using the tools. And the biggest one is they practice steer and they journal. What do you think are the biggest tools that have impacted you?
The pre and post round evaluation, which brain dumping is part of that for me. I kind of put those all together. The pre-round, setting the intention. What do I want to do? What am I going to focus on today? How am I going to define my wins? Accepting the fact that you're not going to get a trophy every time you walk out on the golf course. You have to define your wins in other ways. Similar to, I do it in other areas of my life. It's a skill I own, but I was just having a difficult time transmitting it to golf or transferring it to golf. The pre-round, setting your intention, has been invaluable to me. Post-round evaluation, putting on the lens, the very first thing that I write down or focus on is what went well. Turning my attention to that. Gratitude has always been important to me. And to me, that is another form of the gratitude practice. What went well on the golf course today? Whether it was physical or emotional, what went well? And then what didn't go so well? And what would you do differently next time? After I did this consistently, I discovered I ran out of things to do differently next time. Like
Mm.
I was committed to on a short putt, I'm going to mark it and I'm going to line it up. Okay, so once you write that down once and you keep your word to yourself, this is what I'm going to do differently next time, you don't have to write that down again. So I was able to go through and take out what would I do differently next time. And that list has gotten like very seldom now. It still happens, but very seldom is there anything earth shaking that I'm going to do differently next time. I set my intention, I went out, I did it, and this is it.
Mm.
This I played 18 holes. It took me this many strokes. Here it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the part about where you build up your toolkit, is what I call it. Like you're building up your own personal toolkit. Like I can't tell you to go mark your ball and well, I could, but you know what I'm saying? You came up with the solution for your problem. And when you are the solution for your problem, you will buy into that way more than if Kathy tells me to do it and it doesn't work. This is kind of like exercise or an eating plan. All right, just tell me what to eat. Okay, all right, this is the menu that you need to eat for the day. And you're like, this didn't work, right? It was the meal plans problem. It is kind of the same thing. You are the one that is crafting that. And there's so much reassurance in knowing that you are the solution for a lot of your problems. If you look internally, I can guide people, but ultimately you're the one who comes up with the thoughts that you think serve you. And you're the ones who come up with some of the actions that you think serve you. And then you get to test them out and see what works and doesn't work. And that's the beauty of doing that whole post-round evaluation.
And that's where a lot of the peace that we talked about earlier comes from, whether
Yeah.
it's on the golf course or not, of this is the best I've got and this is okay. Even
Mhm.
if it doesn't turn out okay, I was committed to this and or committed to this person or the process, whatever. That sense of peace is just irreplaceable with following through. We talk about that, making a decision, liking your reasons and having your own back.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Okay. So the other one is clarifying your wins, right? Just stating your wins. One of the things that we do inside of your mental caddy is I start every call with a win. And I don't care how big or great it is. It's not a trophy. Sometimes it can be Betty was annoying as hell today. And I managed my mind around Betty. And that was a win. Even though I didn't score well, for me, that was a mental win. And so how has that exercise been for you as far as your journey here with your mental game?
It has been so helpful and it's super interesting that you use the word exercise. To me, it is so similar to physical exercise. When you do the reps, you build the strength. And for me, it didn't come easy and it didn't come quickly. It has been a slow, steady journey of doing the reps and the strength comes. It was not easy for me to see the wins of I managed my mind well today, or I didn't get upset when I hit the ball in the water. For me to call that a win was a real stretch. And then I did it again and again and again and again. And through the repetition, through the believing, you make progress. There's no there. And that was another big, huge success step for me was understanding that you are not going to give me a checklist. You are not going to solve all my problems. And there is no there. When I signed up, I thought, this is great. She's going to give me a checklist. I can do these things. She's going to tell me what to do, and then I'm going to be there. And it has not quite worked out that way. I'm so thankful that it was not that way because this is so much deeper, so much richer. My life is so much richer because it was not a checklist and there is no there. So
There
it's
is
a
no
blessing.
there.
In the wisdom literature, there's so much of who's to say what's good or bad. We're so quick to put things in a box. This is good. This is bad. Do we really know? Sometimes it's going to take time for this to play out. Some things that we think are terrible turn out to be some of life's greatest blessings.
Okay, so see, you go to ancient philosophy. I go to Yogi Berra, who says, when there's a fork in the road, take it, which basically means you have no idea which path is right because you can't go back, like right, and just go in one direction, and because we can't compare it. So I think he was right up
Hey,
there.
bang. There you go. Love it.
Okay, so the next C is control your thoughts, and so this is power phrases and ladder thoughts and setting intentions. And you talked already a little bit about setting intentions. And I know you use power phrases and words that you like to repeat to yourself over and over again and practicing ladder believable thoughts, even though we've talked some about this, but tell me about your journey and going through that kind of exercise again.
It was super helpful when we do the steers. We're looking at our thoughts, honestly evaluating them. In your new, help me with the title.
That's called mental
Okay.
journal for golf. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I still like Rain for Your Brain, but that's okay.
yeah, it will always be the range for your
Yeah.
brain. Me,
I think I
I
sent
love
you a
to go to the
prototype with
range.
it.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm a range person, so that
Yeah.
fits my personality perfectly. Now we have an unintentional steer and an intentional steer. That has been so helpful for me to help me get off that hamster wheel of circular thoughts, to say, this is where I am, and I don't want to stay here. This is what I want to get to, and how do I get there? And so that has been super helpful. The other thing that has been life changing for me is when we do things so we can think things, so we can feel things. The realization that the feeling is available to you now without changing the S in the steer,
Mm-hmm.
that's life changing. When you're chasing a feeling, which I've been known to do that before and occasionally still do, I can now take a step back, look at that, and look at my steers and say, that feeling, that emotion, that thought is available to you right now. You don't have to change the S.
Right.
So,
That's super powerful, right? Because we do often think like, well, I just need to change the situation. I'm not going to play with Betty. I'll feel better if I don't play with Betty. Or as simple as I'm uncomfortable that my ball is in a divot, I'll roll it out of the divot. Now, I'm not saying that people do that, but this is basically the life example. It's I don't want to figure out and deal with the unease that I have of having to hit my ball out of a divot. I'll just roll it out. And we do this in life. We change the situation so we get to feel better. Actually, that was a good analogy. I kind of like that one. I'm going to keep that.
okay.
I like my own little
I
stories.
don't, I don't
So,
like my boss. I'm going to go get a new job. It's not,
yes,
that's not what changes it.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So that was,
Okay. So controlling your thoughts. And then the next one we talked too about was engaging in reps. And for me, and I know you do this too, because you just said it in here. If anybody caught it, she's listening again to an audiobook. I listen to podcasts over and over and over again. I've read books over and over again. I've studied things. I write them down. I repeat them. Just like your golf swing, where you have to repeat things over and over again until you learn it. Our brain is the same way. And so, for us to understand concepts, and even in this podcast, you'll hear me talk about topics and concepts over and over again, because the more you do that, the more you learn it and the more you own it, and the more you're going to see it from a different angle and a different depth. It won't be so surfacey. You'll get to be inside of you and your core and what you believe and what you think, and you get to interpret it all your ways because you've repeated it so many times. So, one of the things that many of the people who have had success have shared with me is that they repeat things and re-listen and they engage in reps. So tell me about your experience of doing that.
oh gosh. To me, that was part of being all in.
Mm.
It was, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be all in and I'm going to do the reps. And as we're at the different stages, when we read or listen to something, we take something else away from it. It's as if the first time we listen to it, we learn A, and the next time we still hear A, but wow, there was a B there. And I missed that B the first time because I'm a different person. I'm in a different stage. As we grow and we learn, I'm more open to, I didn't catch that the first time. I didn't see it that way. I didn't understand it that way. That has been valuable for me to listen, to read, and to reflect. I guess that the part that really helps with the reps of reflecting of what did I learn and what can I take away from this?
Mhm. I've always done it since I was a kid. I like learning. I would rewrite my notes. Everybody thought I was crazy, but it was just the way that I learned it. And once I got it into my core, I was done. I was like, I got it. I'm good. Let me go take the test. And it helped me. I skipped a year of high school. So, I mean, I did something.
Wow, it really helped you.
Yeah, and I've noticed that over time, that's exactly how I like to learn. And especially if I like a topic, I will engage and consume it and consume a lot of it and repeat it. So, okay, so the other one is share and support. And we talked about this, that we don't do this alone, and that we're all doing the same thing, and leaning on coaching and on community and growing and being open to coaching calls, being open to coaching and being open to coaching calls or a community and sharing wins or struggles. And so you do that. We talked about that in the beginning. You share and support people so much in this process. There's a gift in the giving and in the knowing. If I know something, I've had a coach, I didn't make this connection before. She said, if you had a cure for cancer. You would knock on everybody's door and say, I need to tell you about this cure for cancer. Like, you have to do this thing. I've got it. And so when you have, and I feel like you have it now, like, I have this thing that I want to share with people. I want you also to experience it. It is not mine to hold, it is mine to share. And I encourage that inside of the community. And I encourage that with anybody who gets this and really understands this concept. And for sure, you understand it. So tell me about your purpose in sharing and supporting as you do amazingly. By the way, if this is hitting home, we go way deeper on this inside your mental caddy. That's where the transformation happens. You can check it out right now. Just click the link in the show notes or head to yourmentalcaddy.com.
Wow, thank you. It just adds so much to my life that other people feel safe enough to share their story with me. I think that means so much. And it is such a sense of security when I feel like I'm in a space where I can share honestly what's going on with me. That the community we have with the openness and the acceptance, it is just an amazing community. We are all different. I mean, we're all different ages. We have men, we have women, we have old, we have young, and yet we share a commonality that I hope it adds to other people's life as much as it adds to mine.
Yeah, and I think it does. And I hope I get Bodie on. I want to have him on the podcast. I got to ask his mom. Bodie comes to these calls every week, like clockwork, but he's so cute in that he loves listening to mostly women who come on and engage. I do have men who come on and Jeff communicates, and some of the men who come on keep their cameras off, but he engages and he's gotten so much out of that. I just love that you all can learn from Bodie, and Bodie's a good golfer. Bodie's a top junior golfer. So he's in here listening to conversations from all, I got people in the calls who play in USGA events to people who play in club events. It doesn't matter. My point is that we all are going through the same experience because we all have one brain, like meaning our brain is all doing the same thing. Anxiety, whether you're playing in a top AJGA event, a USGA event, or you're playing in your club championship, or you're just playing with Betty, who just drives you crazy. Anxiety is anxiety is anxiety, right? The circumstance, which you just alluded to, is different, but the experience, the thoughts and the emotions and the actions that follow it are the same for all the brains in that group. It just warms my heart so much on how he engages with all these people. He's the youngest by far that comes on those calls, right? Not that I coach a lot of younger people privately, but that are in that community and consistently on those calls. And he has had a lot of success with that. And that's what I love about the sharing and the support.
And it's a win-win. I hope it's a win-win. I think it's a win for Bodie because he has a cheering section now. Like, his support system has grown exponentially because he's a part of this group.
Yeah.
And it's a win for me and us because his story is so inspiring. There's no downside.
Yeah, no downside at all. Okay, and then the last S is stretch beyond golf, right? And so this is where we apply the tools off the golf course, basically. And so whenever I coach somebody and I tell them, and they say to me, I'm not playing golf right now. And I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this and your clubs are in the closet or in the garage or in the basement and you're waiting for the snow to melt or just the temperatures to go up, if you live in that part of the country and you're thinking, I'm going to tackle this come March, right before opening day, and think that you're going to be able to manage your mind so quickly around all of it. You have one brain, as I said. And when I say that, what I mean is how you process thoughts and emotions, you do everywhere the same. And so I encourage people when they start working with me is I want you to first apply all these tools to things off of the golf course. I want you to do it and see a win for your brain and some low-hanging fruit, so to speak. I want you to see the ability to shift a thought here. And if I can shift a thought here, or manage an emotion in this place, and I can do it in other places that might be more challenging for your brain. And so besides exercising this on areas off the golf course, what happens is that as you can manage your mind in one area, managing, like controlling your thoughts and your emotions and witnessing yourself and dealing with people and not trying to change circumstances or changing other people, it affects your off-course life. And the biggest thing that if you ever see me get choked up on a call, it's when someone says it's not about whether they won a tournament. And I love that. It's about how my relationship shifted with some family members, or I finally called that person that I haven't talked to in a long time, or I stood up for myself because of all these skills. And that gets me choked up because they've taken I don't care whether you start off the course or you start on the course, whichever you want to do, it's going to transfer over. And so how have you stretched that? Even though we talked about it with your family, but stretching beyond golf.
Oh, absolutely. So we'll talk about work because it's so interesting you brought this up. Yesterday, we had, I think, 8 cases scheduled in the operating room. First case, bumpy start. There's a lot of moving parts. Anybody who's been part of a hospital system knows there's so many layers. And so sometimes there can be bumps in the road. And we had a big day planned. And first case, bump in the road. And I walked in the room and you could just sense the sense of frustration of, oh my gosh, this is the way it started, that our day is going to be terrible because we're a team and we do affect each other. Our nervous systems do affect each other. And it was great to be able to truly walk in, sense it all, and say, you know what, we're here. Everything is good. We're going to take care of this patient. And the rest of our day is not written yet. We get to decide how the rest of our day is going to go. These few bumps in the road, this doesn't have to be what our day is going to be like. And as we were finishing up that first case, I thought too of, this is why we practice it now, because it's kind of like making a double bogey on the first hole. It doesn't mean the rest of the round has to be terrible. We get to write the rest of that. We get to write the rest of yesterday. The bumps in the road were over. We could have let that derail our entire day. We could have been grumpy all day. We could have used our lens. We could have looked for every reason why everybody was out to get us and nobody wanted our day to go smoothly. But we didn't. We said, bump in the road. Let's write the rest of our day. Yeah. We have the power to do that. It gives us the power back, whether on the golf course or in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And when you can make those analogies to golf, okay, this was just a double bogey and you know how to manage the double bogey on the golf course, then you can sit there and go, okay, let's go. We still got 17 holes left to play in this day. And then you use those tools to shift that. And so yes, work, home life, your personal relationship with yourself, which I always say it kind of boils down to, and like working on that part. But you have been a great example of using the tools and seeing the success and sharing the love and spreading the love, sharing all this with other people because you want them also to have the success and feel better and manage their minds. And it's not only important for just our own communities in general, but you can see other people in pain and you have an opportunity to relieve that pain with some things that have worked for you. And you know that I love having you on those calls. I appreciate you showing up. She shows up when she's at lunch sometimes or on a break in between operating rooms. I just say, don't have any blood on you. That's just my one rule. And I appreciate you doing that when you're working, and your contribution is invaluable. And really the impact that you have made on so many people inside of Glade Springs and inside of the community is just invaluable. I'll repeat that word. And I appreciate you for giving as much as you give. I appreciate you for continuing to do the work and learning and growing within yourself, because as you do that, you also offer that to other people, a different perspective, as you said. And I'm happy to call you friend, and I'm happy to continue to support you along the way. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. And it's so exciting to see that success doesn't look one way. Like, that's the other beautiful thing of our community is everybody's success looks a little different, and it's all success. And it's just so exciting. And so thank you for providing the platform and the community. You are changing the world. Oh, thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. All right, my friends. Thank you all for listening, and have a beautiful week. And I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye. Remember, you can join for free at yourmentalcaddy.com. I'd love to connect with you there.